Greetings, Gray Paladin here, and this is an update on the progress of my rebuild of the Graflex that I had recently received. So a big custom saber shop order came in, and I'm just about ready to really dig in and make this saber come to life. I got my chassis off of Etsy store, and that's equipped to be able to hold the CFX board. Also got my switches in, two 18650 lithium ion batteries, good to go there. The electrical pins, I ordered new electrical pins to go on the Graflex, and that way I can get them nice and shiny, and because the ones that came with it were pretty beat up. I could tell that this saber was used for heavy dueling. I mean, a lot of scratches. It was very banged up. I also got the new grips, the new rubber grips to go around there. When I'm done with this saber, the goal is to make it look like new. I've got my WOW speaker here ready to install, and that's supposed to be one of the loudest and best high bass speakers on the market. That's a 4 watt 28 millimeter. I am going to do NeoPixel on this one, so I did get the pre-installed connectors, so that way it's one less thing to worry about, but that will be installed on the Graflex as well. And of course I got the housing units to hold the NeoPixel pins, those brass pins that are in there. Of course I got my switches that'll go inside the box there a little bit, so I can hit each side of that and get my activation and my auxiliary switches going. Of course, the pièce de résistance, the Crystal Focus 10 soundboard, best one on the market by far. So looking forward to popping that in there and really getting some cool stuff going with the smooth swing and all the different fonts and customizations. And there's a little screw bag that came with that. Also got ordered a couple of these tubes, so that way I can put that in to protect everything around the electronics. So that'll go on around the chassis once everything is fully installed and ready to go. Got two of those just to be safe. Shout out to Hexec. He's another installer and does a lot of reviews and things like that. Check out his YouTube channel. I'll go ahead and pop that up here as well if you want to get a link to that. But all those Ultra Sabers hilts that I got in, I'm going to be upgrading electronics on those as well. And I wanted a chassis to be able to put in there. So he was selling these chassis that are flexible, which is kind of cool. And you put the key, you can order with or without the keystone. I got this on the Etsy store. So I'm going to be using these to upgrade some of those Ultra Saber hilts that I got. And I'm going to be basically installing electronics in those and then giving them to my nephews as gifts. So looking forward to completing those builds for them, and hopefully they'll be excited to have their first lightsabers. So that came from Hexec. Thank you very much for providing those chassis for me, and then gave a nice little business card there too. So that's his little emblem there and his information on the back. So look him up on Etsy, and also check out his YouTube channel. Really great discussions that come out of him, and very informative. And then one nice little added bonus that I got here was this CFX mat. So this will help me when I begin all my soldering and installing the board. And on the opposite side here too is even more diagrams and information that's there. So that will definitely come in handy as I really start digging in and working on installing that hilt. So the next bit, I took the saber apart, and of course, here's some of the parts. The red button, which I haven't cleaned up yet. I kind of worked on the main hilt first, and then the pommel with the D-ring. I'll get that cleaned and polished as well. I haven't gotten to that yet. And of course the infamous, what it's known for, the Graflex clip, that will also be cleaned and polished as well. I haven't gotten to that yet either. And then of course the control box link, you know, that goes on there. We're all familiar with that piece. That will also be cleaned and polished. This one doesn't really, this piece doesn't need much work. It's, you know, pretty much there. It just needs to be you know, get the fingerprints off and, you know, some of the little dirt and whatnot that's been on there. And then I'll also doctor up the blade plug as well. Some of the glue has really kind of spread down into the actual tube portion. So, and then also getting some of the grime out of the pin that's there. Now the main bit, this hilt came pretty banged up. The owner of this did some very heavy dueling, I could tell. So with lots of using my Dremel and trying to really get out some of those scratches, and I'll also include some a moment here to see some before and after photos of this. Okay, so taking a look at the hilt. Of course, this portion here, you know, the black, as I clean some things out, that will be, I'll redo that with some black acrylic paint. And of course, I've got the new electrical pins to go in there to fill those spaces. The glass eye, had to kind of clean that up a little bit, and around that area there were a lot of scratches and dings, and I'm still not done yet, but as you can see, I've kind of gotten out most of the heavy scratches, but I've got some more sandpaper. Took a trip to the hardware store, got some more sandpaper and things like that to really get in there and try to get this cleaned up even more, and some more finer bits for my Dremel. Same thing with that side. You can really start to see the scratches here. My goal is to get these as non-existent or out completely, if possible. And then up here, I guess the shroud portion, or the blade holder, this was scratched up really bad too. And as you can see, I went through and I got a lot of those deep grooves out of there. Still not done yet. I've got some aluminum polish and some steel wool and some finer grade sandpaper to really get that buffed out as smooth as I possibly can. I want this to look like new when I'm done. And then I have to also get on the inside. There's a couple of deep scratches in there. That's not as important, just because once the blade's in, you're not going to see it. But again, I want this to be as pristine as possible. And then around the main hilt portion, there's some light cosmetic scratches. Let's see here, and also down here. I'm going to get those out as well, and then try to get this to almost a mirrored finish when I'm all done. The bunny ears are pretty much unscathed, which is nice. So I mean, that's already, you know, mirror reflective, so I don't have to do anything there. Now the part where the red button goes, this got the most banged up. I mean, just completely chewed up. I'm not really sure what happened there. Good Lord, it got beat up, and this is pretty good from where it was. If you can look at the old photo, and then where I have it now. Still not done yet. Want to get in there some more, really get these deep grooves out. They're smoothed out, but they're not blending with the non-scarred portions of the hilt yet. So I'm going to try to get that as close to seamless as I possibly can. Got that little ring there cleaned up. But once that's done, of course, the red button will go on there. We'll attach there, and that'll be complete. A lot of the drilling here, I'm just surprised at once I got the control box off and the rubber grips, how that kind of got looks like a real botched job there. So not much I can do with that. But even though this will be covered up, I'm going to buff out these scratches that are underneath the grips as well. And then once the control box gets on, I have the switches in on this side, so when you press the top or the bottom, that'll activate the saber via the control box. So get in there. It's still a work in progress. I'm going to start wiring up and testing and getting the chassis and the board all together. That I can at least complete, so I can just slide it in, connect, and the saber activates. But still much more work to do on cleaning up this saber, but it will get there. And once it's all said and done, this will be a CFX smooth swing loaded with multiple fonts, NeoPixel, ready to go. I'll test it and play with it for a while, make sure it's solid, and then this saber will be up for sale. And I'll include links and do a posting probably on Facebook, the saber page that's on there. And anyone that bites can hopefully get at this. So again, this is a hobby of mine. I'm not a professional installer. This is really my first real build job. And I thought, what better to start with than this Graflex that's here, because there's an abundance of parts out there. So that's just one brief update on the Graflex that I have here. And probably the next video that I post on this, it'll be igniting and smooth swinging and the whole nine. So thanks for tuning in. Please feel free to comment below and I'll respond the best that I can. I know this video was a little bit longer. I try to do my best to keep my reviews and my unboxings and things like that to a minimal time, just because sometimes people have these 20-30 minute reviews out there and a lot of it's just useless rambling, and not everyone, I understand people's time is precious and no one wants to sit there and have to keep fast forwarding or trying to listen to a lot of aimless talk and babble on a review and not getting much information. So I try to keep my videos below 10 minutes. This one's getting up there, so I apologize for that, but there was a lot to cover. So thanks for tuning in. And go ahead and check out the links here for when I unbox this if you want to see the original setup of this before it got torn apart. And make sure you subscribe if you want to get updated on more progress of this particular Graflex. So thank you very much. May the force be with you.